I remember sitting in meetings in 2017, and our concern was young people don't want to be involved in the markets. How are we going to appeal to younger people in options, equities, futures? Obviously with COVID, that really was a bit of the driver. We wanted people to come. We didn't think they'd all come at once. Somebody who spent a lot of my career trying to educate people on how the markets work. It's been great to see, and it's been great to see the amount of education that's gone into keeping people successful long term. They're still buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. Will they at some point lose some money on that? Absolutely. We all know it happens. But I think that when the media looks at the retail investor, they seem to think that all their money is in one trade or two trades and buying the dip. So many of these people have a brokerage trading account, but on the other side, they also have a 401k or they have an IRA where they do have longer term investments. So I think that part of the equation is often missed. The other thing is I look in the options market with zero DTEs. Retail tends to be a buyer of those. So the risk is defined, how much they can lose up front. That makes a big difference. They're not getting themselves into these positions that lead to their dramatic destruction.
What mandate were you given when joining SIBO?
When you come out rolling new products, who's your final target audience? I think my experience in retail helps say, okay, this is something that appeals to retail. So prediction markets is the first thing that I was tasked with. When we designed the product, tried to design it very much keeping what the retail trader would want in a product, as well as some of the considerations about some of the brokerage firms and how many of them are aligned with us, that they want to make sure that it's markets that affect the overall market and not necessarily sports or pop culture.
How are you designing products for the prediction markets?
We want people to start with, what's my outcome? What is it that I want to happen? And so where we're going to start is on the security side of the business, all the other ones that are out there on the future side of the business for a number of reasons. The first one is our S&P 500 franchise with SPX. XSP is phenomenal. And, so we feel that that's the best place to start. We also think that the addressable market is much bigger on the securities end of the business, people with brokerage accounts, as to people who have futures accounts. Although many of the futures traders may be a bit more, sophisticated, et cetera. They actually may not be also the ones that want to use prediction type markets. We're going to use this in the XSP, which is 1/10 the size of the SPX. The reason we're going to do it is because every contract will then settle to $100. We think that makes sense. Feedback from the retail community is $100 is a good place to be. For instance, as an easy math example, S&P 500 is going to be above or below 7,000. 1/10 the size in the XSP will be 700. If it's a 50-50 probability, $50. If it goes above 700, you make $50. If it finishes below, you lose your $50. As the team was thinking about this, we're also like, that's not how options work. Options work that if I'm directionally right, I can make money without having to be exactly right. So we thought, what is a good way to reflect this? So what we're going to do is have vertical spreads reflected as one price. So people can buy one option, sell another as one price, which is the building block of options trading. So we're building that in. So if you think we're going to be above 700, you can buy the 699 700 call spread. That way, if we were in an extreme example to finish at 699.99, you could at least make some money rather than having to have been exactly right. Retail firms like this, because we're going to start teaching people on top of this in cooperation with those firms, teaching people about vertical spreads. They can trade them in any product. They're risk defined. So you understand what you can make, you understand what you can lose, and you understand how long it's going to take.
How does your experience affect your product design?
I'm probably one of the luckiest people in the industry, from being on the market making trading side of the industry to brokerage and now on exchange. Very few people I think have been on every single side of this industry, and that makes it fun. In my years on retail, I ran education at TD Ameritrade, Thinkorswim, and was very involved with Charles Schwab. I think I've probably spoken to 50,000 individual investors in my career, and all great people, and you realize they just want to try and understand this. So when I think about how we design this product as a firm, we were thinking simple, simple, simple. The simpler you can make it for people to understand the product and set them on the path, the more likely you are to see people be successful. I think one of the problems is sometimes people try and make things so complex, and at the end of the day, options can be simplified so people can understand them, make them feel smart. Yes, it's going to take some work on their end, but let's try and make it presented as easily as possible, not only on the platform itself and the interaction, but on how we talk about them, etc.
How are you working with regulators to make sure your products are sustainable?
Investor protection always being something that we're very conscious of, working with retail firms and market making firms that are very like-minded with us in terms of how we view these. As I said, as we thought about these products, we didn't think that sports and pop culture was necessarily appropriate for them. Although I personally may be upset about a Bears-Packers game, it probably isn't going to affect the market on the next day. It might affect my trading, but not the market. And so we wanted to make sure that we separated that when we designed these. We've been working with the regulators very closely on our filings, on everything we're doing to make sure that these are sustainable. And again, I think the spread element of what we're doing, trying to make this so much easier for people. We are not trying to recycle people in the market. We're trying to bring new people into the market who want to understand options.